Good evening, wrestling fans. I'm Louis, the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling, and this is Evolution of Pro Wrestling. And as always, the pleasure is all yours. Thank you, fans, for joining us for this amazing show we're going to have today. Lot to talk about, a lot of wrestling news, lots of stuff going on. I'm very excited to discuss wrestling news as we go along. Bash of Berlin is coming soon in WWE. Apparently, there has been an incident that happened with Rick Swann. He apparently got arrested. He is currently been suspended by TNA. Everything. Everybody has personal things going on in their life, and we get it. He's a human being. We can't criticize him for him in that situation. But hopefully he'll get himself. He said he checked himself into rehab, so we wish him the best of luck with all that stuff, and hope that he gets better. He be able to come back to work and back to professional wrestling. Excuse me. Dave, Biddle, Anthony, what's going on, guys? Welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight we got an awesome show for you. We're gonna bring you wrestling's top news, along with our event of the night, which will be the tribute show for the WILD Samoans, Afa and Sika, which unfortunately Afa had passed away a couple of days ago. Afa Anawani and his brother Sika Anawani both passed not too far away from each other. So we send our condolences to them for that. But we're definitely going to have an interesting conversation about the WILD Samoans. But again, a lot has been going on in professional wrestling, and it's Dave says Gabriel Rich, not a bad person. Met him at James Ellsworth's promotion in Maryland. No, he's not a bad person. Definitely not a bad person. He has great talent. He knows how to handle himself in the ring. So I wish him luck, man. I really wish him luck. But anyway, we have a possible spoiler on former WWE star debuting at All In, which we also got breaking news today by one of our fans, Russell Jackson, that Ricochet apparently has signed a contract, a multi-year contract with AEW. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little under the weather today. And I got a little bad toothache, but I'll try to push through. That's interesting. What are your guys' thoughts on Ricochet joining AEW now? Signing a multi-year contract. Like that's huge. That's a huge thing. And I'm anxious to see where they're gonna go. Where they're gonna go with this. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're definitely gonna have a match between Will Ospreay and Ricochet again, and there's many other the possibilities that are endless for the WWE. So wow, he's in AEW. That's what we were told. He's in AEW, and we're like, shit, like that's a big acquisition for him, for AEW. Because listen, I've always been a huge fan of Ricochet, but WWE dropped the ball with him. They dropped the ball big time with Ricochet, and Ricochet could have been used to be awesome in the division, in the men's division. At least give him the Intercontinental title, something. Put him in a tag team. Give him a tag team championship. Like, you could have did that. You know what I mean? But wrestling fans, tell me, in your opinion, what was your top moment in professional wrestling this week so far? Starting from Monday Night Raw, SmackDown last week, going into Monday Night Raw, AEW, NXT. Like, tell us, what has been your top moment this week in professional wrestling? While you guys are telling us that, I'm busy here sharing our news here. It's been a really challenging week for professional wrestling. Oh, sorry guys, keep it coming. I'm watching you guys. Today, listen, I actually saw the ending of Monday Night Raw, This thing with Wyatt 6, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. The way they're going with this, and with Roman Reigns and Solo, the way the bloodline has destroyed Roman Reigns, has knocked off Roman Reigns off of TV for a little while. They're keeping him off for a while. I don't know how long, but I'm sure he'll pop up again soon. We'll see how that's going to turn out. Excuse me. Oh man, this is amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about the Wild Samoans tonight either. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Here we go now. All right, guys. So, let's see what we got here. What comments we got? So, okay, so Dave says it's been good that AEW All Out tickets have already been in place, and that's a big steep. He said All In Stadium show in Dallas, Stadium show in Australia, 50,000 tickets. That's a lot. Ricochet sign ratings are steady again. Isn't in a bad place. Okay, I gotcha. Travis says Monday Night Raw. Anthony says this week when Roman and Solo are on SmackDown this past week, probably that was the shock and stood out for me. Claude and Okada last night was a killer match. Listen, I keep mentioning this shit, and I'm gonna keep mentioning it. WWE several times, and I'm not specifically saying WWE. I would have to say Vince McMahon. You had Claude, who in WWE was Cesaro, was a hell of an athlete. And if there was anybody that was going to beat Roman Reigns at the time, it should have been him. But again, Vince McMahon, being who he was, he didn't let that happen. Okada, great Japanese star. Like one of the best I've seen in this era. Like, dude can do it all. He could do a great heel. He could do like good promos, like the fighting, like the shoot fighting he does. Like, it's crazy. And I love it. But I think that's why he didn't come to WWE, because I think if he would have came to WWE would have just tore him up. Excuse me. He said, yeah, Vince McMahon definitely was very stuck on who in his mind was the main event material. Of course he was. And I can understand that, it was what Vince McMahon liked. Vince McMahon liked the bigger guys. He liked the big heel. He didn't care if the fans didn't like it. He's like, you're gonna take it and you're gonna love it. But I kind of see a little method to the madness that he does that, because, all right, you get the fans all pissed off, and then they start booing more and more and more. So you finally get that face that can finally catch the crowd, which is what they did with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And then now, the Cody Rhodes thing is like kind of something. It's not the best, but I'm glad he won the title. I'm glad he finished the story. Now he's starting another one. But I don't know, man. It's kind of weird to me. But Anthony says, just like with Cesaro, he was over with the crowd and had a great in-ring work, but never saw him as a main eventer. Exactly. And that shit pisses me off, because, why wouldn't you put him into the main event status, give him the title? Like, I don't understand. Like, he was a big star. He he definitely had the strength to get his weight up. Like, he showed you he can do what he do in the ring. But it was WWE's loss. You know what I'm saying? But you know what else will be our loss? If you guys don't share our content all over social media, bring your friends, your cousins, everybody. We have wrestling's top news along with our event of the night, the WILD Samoans Tribute Show. We are going to talk about in depth against AFA. Lucha Libre, yes. The Lucha Libre. We like Lucha Libre is a style that not many people talk about to this day. Which reminds me, JBL is apparently going to be with AAA to help promote, help money, and he came out with Nick Nemeth. I'm like, holy shit! Like that was pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Dave says in smaller news, Billy Corrigan, NWA owner, has an announcement at NWA 76 in Philadelphia. Maybe TV or another territory affiliation, and interesting in it. Absolutely. That would be interesting. And not for nothing, I would like to see NWA back on TV. You know what I mean? NWA has always been a prestigious company. You know, even back in the 80s, you know, it was always a great company. And I wish we could have them on TV. You know, and not for nothing, it's good to have wrestling on TV every single day. You know what I mean? You got, actually we do have wrestling every single day. You got Monday Night Raw, you have NXT, AEW, TNA, and SmackDown. So, and NWA as well. You can watch NWA anywhere. You know, but it's a lot's been going on in wrestling, man. I just saw this right now, that Conan is actually interested in a potential WWE return. Okay. But what would that return be? Like, would you be a manager? Because we know you can't wrestle anymore. So, you know, what would it be? You know, what would it be? Like, that would be interesting to see. Bobby Lashley confirms that he still wants to wrestle after WWE departure. The Thursday's Ring of Honor Club, that's what I'm saying. There's wrestling all over. Now this is something interesting. I read up on this on Facebook. Apparently, Ricky Stark's AEW contractual status is in a extended hiatus. Apparently, they're not discussing his contract, but apparently it looks like his contract is either up or coming up. What do you guys think is going to happen with Ricky Starks? Is he going to re-sign with AEW? Or is he going to sign with WWE? Is he going to go to TNA? NWA? Like, that's the thing now. The choices are endless to where now you can go to wrestle, which is crazy. Because now it's like, okay, like, but that's the thing, that you have all these promotions on TV. You know, he said, I think he's going to head to WWE. Hey, who knows? Who knows? It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad, you know. He would definitely bring some light and more heel to the WWE. Which reminds me, there's been some confirmed dates apparently by Tony Khan. Tony Khan confirms AEW is exploring locations for future event. So let me read upon this here. AEW is aiming to expand its global reach, which plans to take their brand new international locations following up all-in event to Wembley Stadium on August 25th and scheduled event in Texas next year. The company now appears to be setting its sights on Australia for another major event. Okay, 2025. That's interesting. That's definitely interesting. Happy birthday to the Usos. There you go. There you go. Good shout out. Good shout out. The Usos, who we're going to talk about in this show. Dave says, I will miss him in AEW, but think he needs a fresh start. That's possibly, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct about that. There's been a lot going on in professional wrestling. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest have formed a little faction, you know, a little name there. I'm anxious to see where this is going to go with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest? You know, is this the mega push that they're trying to do? Is this the top face in the women's division? Like, what are you going to do? Now, where do you lead this to? Is my question. Well, wrestling fans, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm definitely under the weather. Tonight, we are going to bring to you a interesting topic, which I kind of caused a lot of controversy online, but I can give a rat's ass about that. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little under the weather. We have seen many wrestling families. We have seen many great legends. We've seen tag teams. And then it's the Anoa'i family. The Anoa'i family, I hope I'm not destroying their last name, I'm sorry, had two men that, to me, were a very, very unique team, and to me, if not one of the greatest tag teams in the 70s, early 80s, that paved the way for tag teams that we have now. You know, yes, you mentioned people mention the Steiner brothers, people mention the Islanders, people mention the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, many other tag teams, you know. But what's up, Coach Sean? But when you mention the Wild Samoans are on a whole different level. Like the stars that they build up, the legacy they left in this organization, in professional wrestling, was beyond me. Like they brought stars. You know, when you mention their family, you have the Usos. You mentioned the Usos. Happy birthday to the Usos. Greatest tag team ever in the modern era. Held the titles longer than anybody ever in professional wrestling. They beat great tag teams. Had great rivalries with the Usos. You got The Rock, who comes from that family, and I'm sure was trained by Alpha Sika as well. And look at him, how he turned out. Yokozuna, one of the biggest big guys I've ever seen. Like, dude was just, could move. Like, he was champion, WWE champion twice, and it's in the Hall of Fame. You know, to see somebody move like that, it's beyond me. You know, and yes, there's 3 matches with Ivan Putski and Tito Santana, and the Strombos are via childhood memory. Absolutely. Because those matches that was the best of kayfabe right there. Like the Wild Samoans, at the time, people were so scared of them. Like they didn't know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? And oh, I'm sorry, I dropped an F-bomb. I apologize. But I don't apologize, because Evolution of Pro Wrestling is MA, mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Fucking it. So the Wild Samoans, they first started their career as a tag team from 1973 to 1979. They began in Stu Hart's Calgary, Alberta, Canada, based Stampede Wrestling, where they won the Stampede International Tag Team Championships on 2 occasions. Then they went to Vancouver to win the tag team title there. They made their debut in the United States for Big Time Wrestling in Detroit. They spent the majority of the 1970s in various National Wrestling Alliance territories. See, this is where all these titles came up at. You know, they come from the island of Samoa. You know, which is, to me, they're astonishing. Like they're completely, like I used to see them. To me, the stars they built in professional wrestling. You got Rikishi, they had Hulk Hogan. They made Hulk Hogan a household name. Why? Because that day, Bob Backlund was fighting one of the Wild Samoans. And it was all of them. It was Alpha, Sika, and I think it was Captain Albano. So Bob Backlund goes to the back, and nobody knew Hulk Hogan was going to come out. And little did we know, boom, he came out. The fans went nuts. And it's like, holy shit, that's all she wrote. Hulkamania was born. The Wild Samoans sold the hell out of the beatdown with Hulk Hogan. And it's like, shit. You know, like, these guys are for real. And, you know, they helped the legacy of Rikishi. Rikishi, who started as the Head Shrinkers, which he, at a point, him and Samu, Alpha's son, they won the tag team titles, in the WWE against the Quebecs. And it was a prestigious moment for them to bring more gold to the Anawani family. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, you know, the Wild Samoans, they definitely, thank you, honey, appreciate you. My producer and director brought me some water. I'm sorry, I'm a little parched. Give me one moment. Thank you, honey. I love you. That's my beautiful wife. She's my producer and director. Hulkamania, brother. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a huge Hulk Hogan fan, but I lost total respect for Hulk Hogan. Sorry. Let's just keep it at that. Anyway, with the Wild Samoans, like I said, they built up stars, and they started making a name for themselves from 1977 to 1979. The Samoans repeated tours of Japan with the International Wrestling Enterprise. In 1978, they briefly held the IWA World Tag Team Championships in Japan. That's a big thing in Japan. You know, Japan was known for United States wrestlers at the time. You know, so when you see something like that, it's like, okay, these guys are for real. Like, yeah, okay, you know, some may say, no, they're not the greatest tag team. Like I said, as I said, to me, they're one of the best. And it's not just because they scared the shit out of people. You know, they pretty much destroyed everybody that came their way. Or their demeanor. No, they got it. They got it because they knew what to do in the ring. They knew how to sell. They knew how to build stars. They knew how to make stars. There's many stars in the indie scene now that they helped when Alpha had his wrestling company, WXW. You know, they got guys like Julio Vertigo, Chico Adams. I know there's more out there. There's a whole bunch. There's Sean Mulata. Another member of the Iona family. Like, there's Lance Iona. Like, he's created his son, Alpha Jr., in the independent scene that made a brief stint in the WWE. His son, Samu, when he was in they were kicking ass in WWE. One of the 3 best of the territory ever. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's, you see these guys and you're like, holy shit. Like, what's next? What are you going to see? So they came to the World Wrestling Federation in 1979 to 1980. And it was interesting to had seen that when they did. Because that's when they had great rivalries. I mean, great rivalries. And it was amazing to see those rivalries when it happened. Oh, give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty here. Computer technology, you gotta love it. But they had a match in Madison Square Garden. Their debut match. It says here that they were introduced by Lou Albano's Wild Men they made a Madison Square Garden debut on January 21st, 1980, in the WWF Tag Team Championship match against Tito Santana and Ivan Putski, who retained their titles. In the upcoming months, both men became contenders for Bob Backlund's WWF title, but neither man won the gold. But they won their first tag team championship when they finally defeated Ivan Putski and Tito Santana in April 20th, 1980. Got a 2 out of 3 falls match in the showdown at Shea Stadium. Oh man, that was amazing. That was amazing. Coach Sean says, my tag team favorite are Powers of Pain and World's Greatest Tag Team. Powers of Pain were a good tag team. You know, and it would have been interesting to see those, the Wild Samoans go against the Powers of Pain. You know, it would have been very interesting to see who would have won that match. And no, the World's Greatest Tag Team, they were a pretty good team. You know, Dave says the fact they stayed as a team and never took singles runs provided their greatness and draw power as a team. Exactly. That tag team was great. Of course they were great. No, but when they won that title, they won the tag team titles against Tito Santana and Ivan Putski, and because Bob Backlund was already the reigning champion of WWF, he had to forfeit the title due to a tournament was held. The Wild Samoans defeated Tony Guerrero and Rene Goulan in a tournament finals to win the titles again in September 8th, 1980. Listen, man, I would put them and the Legion of Doom against each other any day. And I got to go with the Wild Samoans because there's a difference. There's a difference between the Legion of Doom and the Wild Samoans. And I'm going to tell you now. The Legion of Doom, hell, kick the shit out of everybody when they come in, no matter what. Bah, 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 bah. Okay. But at a point, they fought the Steiner brothers. They got their shit kicked out of them. Then they came back again. And, you know, to me, they didn't really care much about the business as much as the Wild Samoans. You see, the Wild Samoans, they were legit badasses. Like, yeah, you weren't gonna kick the shit out of the Wild Samoans. That's just not in the cards. Like, these guys were legit. At a point, I think at one point, Pat Patterson had mentioned a story about the Wild Samoans, that one of them got hit in the head with a billy club. Like, my man, I would get hit with a billy club, I would be, I'll be done. Like, no shit, like, hell no. Like, not even close. But the Wild Samoans, when they went to WWE, they had a feud. They lost. Eventually, when they won the titles in 1980, September 1980, they lost the titles to Guerrero and his new partner Rick Martel. The Wild Samoans feuded with the champions for the rest of the year, but they were not able to recapture the gold. Then they went to Mid-South and Georgia from 1981 to 1982. They joined Mid-South Wrestling with Big Cat Ernie Ladd as their financial advisor and manager. So, and then changing their name from the Samoans to the Samoan Warriors. Then they won the Mid-South Tag Team Championship and feuded with the Junkyard Dog and Dick Murdoch. Holy shit. What a match that was when they fought in Mid-South Wrestling. Dave, my man, I know you got something brewing over there with what I just said. Because that's just old school at its finest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I got so excited I gotta drink some more water. It's crazy. Because you talk about these rivalries in the old school, and it's like, holy shit, like, my childhood is slowly diminishing. You know, Sika passes away, then Alpha passes away. Both Wild Samoans gone, like, shit. And there was a video I saw with a couple of the independent stars. They did a haka for Alpha, which is it's a very sacred and respectful thing with the Samoans, which I me personally, and this is me. I'm not kissing ass or anything or nothing like that. I really, really love the haka. You know, like that would be something on my bucket list to learn before I die. The haka, because it's so sacred, and the meaning to it. You know, with the family and the love, like it's amazing. Like I wish I knew the haka. And it was wonderful seeing that video. And when you saw Alpha choke up, he loved it. He sincerely, excuse me, I'm sorry, my nose hairs are itching my nose. Excuse me. You saw the emotion in Alpha's face. You know, you saw that he loved it, he appreciated it, he saluted it, and he deserved it. You know what I mean? He, like I said, he was raising stars. He was bringing people. They were still bringing people in. You know, but back to the Wild Samoans, they after they left Mid-South, actually, let me continue with Mid-South. They had that rivalry with Junkyard Dog and Dick Murdoch. Said, oh, wait a minute, we got a comment here. He said, NWA Mid-South was so hardcore before it was a thing, stiff work leading down from Bill Watts. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's what made wrestling so unique at that time, because sometimes you would stiff your opponent to make it more exciting, because it would show, shit, like this is real. Like kayfabe was good back then, you know. But you know, everything started coming out and blah blah blah, and you know the curtain call and all this bullshit, Bret Hart, and you killed my character, like my man. Like it wasn't that serious. Like you didn't do business, they did business for you. So, but with the Wild Samoans, they did have a feud that led to a former advisor response. Lads sold their contract to Sandur Akbar and formed a tag team with Iron Mike Sharp, with whom he forced the Wild Samoans to leave Mid-South. After leaving Mid-South, the duo appeared in Georgia Championship Wrestling as part of the territory. They defeated the Fabulous Freebirds for the NWA National Tag Team Championship, which was later vacant. Again, back to the territories. These guys were lethal back in the territories. Like, you weren't able to stop them. There was just no fucking way. It's crazy that after this show, I'm gonna want to go on YouTube and watch a match. Watch one of their matches, one of the greatest rivalries that they had. But no, they came back to the WWE in 1982 to 1985. The Wild Samoans eventually ended up back in the World Wrestling Federation with former manager Captain Lou Albano. They grew full beards. They were scruffy, bushy looking, which made them look like, holy shit, these guys are about to kick the shit out of me. So Alpha and Sika began their third WWE Tag Team Championship reign in March of 1983 by beating Chief J Strombo and Chief J and Jules Strombo. Oh man, I'm with you, Coach Sean. I miss wrestling old school. I miss old school wrestling too. Like old school wrestling was the shit back then. Like there's nothing you could compare with the old school wrestling, because like yeah, you see, I love the stuff they got now, but I'm old school to the face. Like there's no ifs, ands, buts about that. Like you're not you're not gonna change my mind. You're not gonna tell me no, this is better. No. I'm old school to the face. Like you tell me, all right, let's watch this. So back then hit different. Exactly. Back then definitely hit different, because you enjoyed it more. You enjoyed the classic heel. You enjoyed the face, the hero. As I said, I even though I said it that I lost respect for Hulk Hogan, but with Hulk Hogan, when you see him come out and fight this villain and just think, the music and everything, the posing, you enjoy it, because as a fan, you loved it back then, and I still do now. I separate the Hulk Hogan wrestler from the Hulk Hogan personal person. Personally, I can't stand him. I lost all respect for him now. As a fan, in the ring, watching his matches and all that stuff, 80s and 90s, exactly. I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. He said, was not as high-flying, but made-based wrestling. Exactly. Exactly. It made wrestling exciting. But this match they had with Chief and Jules Strongbow, like in a rematch on March 19th, they were also victorious. During this time, they also feuded with Rocky Johnson, Jimmy Snuka, and Andre the Giant. More invested in the character. Exactly. Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. That's what it was back then. They were more invested in the character. And that's what made the Wild Samoans who they were. They came. They were the Wild Samoans. They were gonna kick the shit out of you. He said, "Oh man, Soul Man Rocky Johnson, yeah, they were great, man. The rivalries they had, they had the rivalry Rocky Johnson, and then the duo of the Wild Samoans added Alpha Son Samula to their team. First as a replacement for Sika when he got hurt, then as their backup upon his return. But they finally lost their tag team titles against Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas on November 15th. That was crazy, because Rocky Johnson was a part of the family. Let me see. Hold on. Dave just put this comment. Let me see. He said the Laughing Out Loud and the Strongbows had sit in protest in the ring after they lost. Haha, great TV back then. Absolutely. Oh man, like the Wild Samoans, they during the matchup, Albano tried to interfere on the Samoans' behalf by attempting to hit Atlas, but he accidentally hit Alpha with the chair. And what's going on, Alvin? Welcome. For those tuning in, we are talking about Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans. We're having a tribute show for them. Apparently, many to this day consider them the greatest tag team of all time. Some don't. Some consider them one of the greatest. But I think, and I give my reasons why I think they are the greatest overall. And again, it's not about muscle. It's not about the titles you won. No. Those Wild Samoans paved the way for the... Yep, remember who beat Atlas in... No, I don't. I don't remember that. It's been a while since I remember that. So they were the greatest family in wrestling. Absolutely. The greatest wrestling family of all time. The Anoa'i family has always been the greatest wrestling family of all time. That's bar none. But when they lost to Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas, they eventually left the WWF in 1985 and reappeared in ProWrestling USA. Where they had their dream match versus the Road Warriors. The bout ended in a double disqualification. That was surprising. That was very surprising. Murdoch and Adonis. He said the whole bloodline of wrestling family. Absolutely. James, what's going on, brother? Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much. For those tuning in, we are having a show of the Wild Samoans, which both have passed away. One passed away a couple of days ago, one a couple of weeks ago, not too far apart. And we're having a great tribute show for the Wild Samoans. So the later years in 1985 to 1997, after the WWF and AEW, they went to wrestle in the independent circuit from 1986 to 1991. In 1987, they made a few appearances in the National Wrestling Federation. 1988, they lost to Jimmy Valiant and Rufus Jones by disqualification at the 15th WWC Aniversario in 1988 in Puerto Rico. In 91, they split up and both men went their separate ways. Sika would retire from wrestling and train wrestlers at the Wild Samoans Training Center. Alpha managed the Head Shrinkers in the WWE from 1992 to 1995. After WWF, Alpha continued to train other wrestlers. And this is where Alpha was where he founded World Extreme Wrestling based in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And then in August 1997, both men reunited one night teaming with Disco Inferno, Gene Legend, and the Big Cheese as they defeated Ken Tims, George Love, J Love, Gary Royale, and Kenny Adams at the IWA Night of Legends in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Need I say more? The impact these, and all this more here. I'm going to finish reading this in just a little bit, and then we're going to take some questions. Need I say more with the Wild Samoans? Like, they cared about the business. Not saying that the Legion of Doom didn't, or the Steiner Brothers, or the Midnight Express, or the Rock and Roll Express, or what other tag team? The New Day, or whoever. But the Wild Samoans, to me, were on a whole different level. Especially when you were such icons in the territorial era. The territory is where it was back then. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that people to this day, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm parched. Give me 1 second. That's good water. Excuse me, guys. So, with the Wild Samoans, they definitely gave back to the business. Once they retired, once they knew, okay, it's time to give back, then it's like, all right, here we go. So the Wild Samoans, during the late 70s, the Alpha Anwani opened up the Wild Samoans Training Center. And the school graduates included Paul Orndorff, the Junkyard Dog, Luna Vachon, Michael P.S. Hayes, Yokozuna, Bam Bam Bigelow, Rikishi, Sherry Martel, Virgil, Billy Kidman, Gene Snitsky, Chris Kanyon, and Batista. And they also promote live wrestling shows under the WXW banner. In 2007, on the eve of WrestleMania 23, the Wild Samoans were inducted finally into the WWE Hall of Fame, where they were inducted by Samula and Matt Anawani. In 2013 and 2014, Alpha came out of retirement to wrestle for his promotion in World Extreme Wrestling at 71. Then when they appeared in 2020 in Hell in a Cell to celebrate the victory with Roman Reigns, that was magic. That was when the greatest storyline in the modern era was born with the Bloodline. When they pretty much handed Roman Reigns, here, it's you now. You lead the family now. With your father and your uncle, the elders who started this whole thing. Need I say more? Like, and then the stars they built, Paul Orndorff, like Junkyard Yokozuna, Bam Bam Bigelow, Rikishi, Batista, Hall of Famer, Sherry Martel, Michael P.S. Hayes from the Freebirds, Billy Kid, like all these guys they mentioned, all these guys they trained. Like, need I say more about this tag team, about these gentlemen, as much as they cared about professional wrestling? That's a tough one. Pick a dream match opponent for the Wild Samoans in any era. Shit. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one to choose, because it's tough, man. It's definitely tough to choose something like that, because oh man, Mark and Jay Briscoe, shit. Yeah, what a list, Frank. I'm telling you that there's so many. But it's a shame they had to go. And here at Evolution of Pro Wrestling, we do share our sincere condolences to the Anawani family. So Frank says, here's a tough question. Said both great, but who guys like better? See that I can't answer that. I can't answer that because they were both unique in the ring. They were both knew the styles. They both knew how to sell. Oh shit, the Wild Samoans versus Brody and Hanson? That shit would be brutal. Woo! I think I'm gonna do a post about that one. Thanks, James. I definitely think I'm gonna do a post about that one. Oh man. That's crazy. But unfortunately, on June 25th, 2024, Sika did pass away at the age of 79. And then on August 16th, a couple of days ago, on 2024, Alpha passed away at the age of 81. Not too far apart from each other. But now they're up there in heaven, joining each other, and we'll definitely keep their legacy alive watching the matches. He said, I'm going with Brody and Hanson. He says, Sika, I think, was a bit bigger. He scared me more. Sika was definitely tough, man. Sika was definitely tough. But now, wrestling fans, with our final 10 minutes, I bring to you our Q&A for the last 10 minutes. You give us some questions. We will talk about it. It could be anything you want to discuss about professional wrestling, and we will go on and discuss it until our time is up. Any question you want, that's what we're here for. We can discuss it for a few minutes and then move on to the next question. Everything we're going on in professional wrestling, with anything that's going on, anything you want to see. The Wild Samoans versus Umaga and Jacob Fatu would be awesome. That would have been an awesome match. For real. But bring on your questions. The Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling is ready to give his opinion on what your questions are. And pretty much, I can let you know what I feel. But before that, I need a little drink of water just to get myself ready, so the Encyclopedia can speak his mind. And while I'm doing that, please feel free, guys, to share our content all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, all that stuff, and you know. I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting for your questions. What's going on? No questions? Catch got your tongue, guys? I'm liking the way professional wrestling's been going on right now. You know what I mean? Like, I like when JBL showed up, what he did. I like where everything is going right now with professional wrestling. Where's my partner? My partner has moved on, sir. He moved out. He graduated high school. He's gone on to bigger and better things, which he is doing great, and I'm very proud of. Now it's just me, the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling. We talk with all bets are off. We talking about everything: old school, new school, middle school, attitude era, territory era. We bringing everything to you. I'm bringing everything to you. So he moved. Yep, he moved. He moved on. Okay. Okay, hold on. We got a question here. Yeah, he's a big boy, 18 years old, man. Yeah, the heel kid. All right, here we go. He said, Lewis, how many indie shows you go to a year? I get 6 to 9 if I can. Well, I actually stopped going to indie shows for a hot minute. I used to go to maybe, before my son moved, I would think we went maybe 6 or 7 throughout the year. We went to ARW at a point. We forgot that. USA Pro Wrestling. I went to IWA here in Orlando. To several ones, and it's, I actually like watching independent wrestling. You know what I mean? I like, you see some botches, which is normal because they're training, they're learning, which I get it. You know what I mean? And it's like, what to look forward to, but who knows? I might start going back to independent promotions here. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, guys, give me some questions, man. We got 10 minutes here. It's 8:53. Come on, guys. Shoot. I want the Q&A. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's something interesting I'm reading here that says Paul Heyman reveals why he always considered himself a Triple H guy. That would have been interesting if Triple H was a Paul Heyman guy. You know what I mean? Like, if he would have been a Paul Heyman guy, I don't know. I don't think that game success would actually happen. Okay, here's a question here. He said, what is your take on TNA and WWE like letting talent go back and forth each other's shows? I love it. I love it. And I say it because that takes me back to the territory days. When back in the days, the territory days, you were able to borrow someone from somebody else's promotion and like, hey, let me use this guy, like Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was in WWF, but he used to be able to travel to other promotions, you know, help out. Here's another question. Other than WWF, who do you think was the best wrestling organization out there? For me, it would be NWA, right? And right after NWA, I would have to go with World Class Championship Wrestling. I agree, because again, back then, wrestling was wrestling. You had Bruiser Brody, you had Rick Rude, you had guys, you had the Von Erichs, the Freebirds. Bruiser Brody alone would kick the shit out of you because he didn't care. He didn't care, and that's what it was. You know what I mean? With Bruiser Brody, like he went to Japan, he went to Puerto Rico, he went all over the place. For me, you had so many great promotions back then besides WWE, and it was crazy. Dave says, for everyone, WWE is the most peeps favorite. What is your 2 or 3 next promotions? I would say I was a AWA and Stampede guy. Absolutely. AWA was also a great organization because AWA had stars. The AWA wrestling had stars like Hulk Hogan, with their build up from there. You had Vern Gagne. You had King Kong Bundy. Who else? What other stars was in there? Nick Bockwinkel, one of the greatest heels of all time. Like, bar none. Like, I love when he had that rivalry with Hulk Hogan, but I loved how they kept that heel persona. Great in-ring technician, by far. And it was great to see him in the ring. It was great to see people like him fighting, you know, but it all started at AWA. Because before these guys were stars in WWE, they were stars in AWA. Mean Gene Okerlund, Bobby Heenan, Adrian Adonis, Ken Patera, Tito Santana, Jim Bronzell, David Schultz, Wendy Richter, Jesse Ventura, and of course Hulk Hogan. And then people started jumping ship. You had Roddy Piper, you had Greg the Hammer Valentine, Bob Orton, Ricky Steamboat, Mike Rotunda, Jerry Briscoe, Jack Briscoe. You know what I mean? Like, all these stars ended up jumping from AWA to WWF, which that's what made WWF a mainstream right there. You know, but with those organizations, ECW, I used to love watching ECW, man. Like, even though it was like maybe an hour, half of the show was like maybe all promos. I think we saw like maybe like one match out of the entire program. The Von Erichs were awesome. Awesome wrestling family. It's messed up, you know, with the tragedy that they had, you know, but they were a great team. They were a great wrestling family. Their father was pretty tough though, so. But we'll take 2 more questions and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Listen, I miss the territory eras. I miss old school eras, and it's like as I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate more the Attitude Era. The old. He said, "What do you think of the movie?" It was okay. They could have made it better, in my opinion. They definitely could have made it better. Said the '90s definitely ECW redefined wrestling. Absolutely redefined it, because that's what they started creating the Attitude Era with Vince McMahon, you know, in WWE. So the movie definitely could have been better. He said your favorite championship belt looks not lineage. My favorite championship belt of all time would probably have to be a toss-up between the Winged WWE title, the Wing Belt, or the first, the one that Hulk Hogan won in 1984 against Iron Sheik. I like that one. Frank says, okay, do you want to take one more question? Yes, absolutely. Just Hulk Hogan's my boy, and they're always killing my boy Hogan. My boy Holden, who killed WCW. Wow. Anthony says, my favorite, Lewis, is the big gold belt. That was a good belt, too. Said Frank says, for me, it was the corporate Time Warner. It was what killed WCW. You know what? I think if the corporate company that owned WCW didn't put the handcuffs on Eric Bischoff, I think they would have been able to continue competing with the WWE, and we still would have had WCW to this day. But apparently, you know, again, people started, the sponsorship started coming up, and oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, and that's what stopped them. Which, in other hand, with WWE, USA said, fuck it. Do what you got to do. You know, your ratings are going up. You're making us money. Make you money. Blah, blah, blah. That's what it is. Yes, and the finger point of doom definitely screwed up WCW in January 4th, 1999. That was ridiculous. I don't know what the hell Hulk Hogan was thinking about. I don't know what they were thinking about with that shit. And then the fake laugh at the end, like, haha, like, we got you, guys. Like, my man, like, what were you thinking about? Like, what were you thinking about? And then you put Jay Leno to fight in the ring. Come on, like, exactly. I disagree. The Arquette move of putting the bat on the cat on Arquette was much worse. Putting the belt, Dave Arquette as world champion, like, that was just to me, and nothing against David Arquette. Because he did a role. He was cast in a role. Here, this is your role. This is what you're going to do. For you to disrespect the world title that has been won by many, many great stars, to give it to an actor that didn't know shit about the business, that was just appalling. The Judy Bagwell forklift, of course, that was terrible too. And you mean to tell me that Vince Russo made the Attitude Era when he did all this bullshit? No, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. Great show, my friend. Gotta go. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. But thank you, wrestling fans. Our time is up here tonight. We thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Wild Samoan Tribute Show. And I really enjoyed the show today. I thank you for all the Q&A questions. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Again, my beard is itching my nose. I got to shave. Thank you, fans, for joining us. Please feel free to like our content, to like, share, and comment. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Evolution of Pro Wrestling. We are actually going to take a few weeks off. We're going to take 2 weeks off. And we will be back. Let me see here. I'm just looking at the calendar. Give me a second. Trying to see what I can find here. Let's see. I'm sorry. Okay, I can't find my calendar. Technology, you gotta love it, right? All right, so we will be back. Come on, where are you? I'm sorry, I do apologize, fans. I do apologize. Oh, man. Calendar, where are you? All right, I'm sorry, guys. But no, I really appreciate you guys joining us, all of us. So we are going to be back on September 12th. September 12th will be our next show at 8 o'clock. That day, we will be bringing a topic that we were supposed to do today, but we changed it due to the tragedy that happened, so we want to do a tribute show. Our next show on September 12th will be, what was your greatest and pretty much what was your favorite moment, your most shocking moment, your boohoo moment, your moment that you got angry? What made you become a wrestling fan and why? So much shit to talk about, from WrestleManias to SummerSlams to NWA to matches to this match and that match. We are going to have so much to talk about, along with wrestling's top news. For myself, Louis, the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling, for my producer and director, my lovely wife, Yesenia. Thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. As always, the pleasure is all yours. Oh, thank you very much.